Thank you, everyone. Mama G, thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. It's been like about 5 or 6 weeks, I think. I think the last one was like end of July, and I thought, you know what, let's take a break. Let's recharge a little bit. Let me allow everyone to do their staycations, and then we'll come back. And I just thank God. Hey, Akila, hi. Just everybody, have a summer, and then we'll come back in September, and continue to talk about the beautiful things that, God is doing with our young people and just catching up with them. I mean, it's been an interesting summer. I thought I was going to do a lot, but it was a lot of work. I was doing a lot of work. And at the same time, I was seeing a lot of transition for my young adults. Those who are going to uni, those who are going into A levels. I had opportunity to do a little bit of mentoring with some people abroad, and it's just been interesting, what God does with us. And I'm just so grateful that we're all well. We're all doing very well. Hi, Rachel. Thanks so much for joining me. And it's been great. I mean, the 15 previous young people I've had the opportunity of doing Young and Strong with have been amazing. And I have no doubts about the young person I'm going to be talking to today. This is somebody I've known, I think, since she was about 12 or, well, at most 13. And she's a young lady I have a lot of respect for. And I don't say it lightly. When I say I respect young people, I do. If you're doing well, if I'm proud of you, then I respect you. Like people have heard me say, when people ask me, who are your heroes, who are the people, I tell them my young people are my heroes. My young adults are my they are my heroes, because when they're doing well, when you're seeing them fulfilling potential, it just gladdens my heart. And as you can see, every time I'm doing Young and Strong, I kind of like have this smile on my face. And before I get into it, I just want to celebrate somebody who's really special to me. She was on this Young and Strong a couple of episodes ago, Emanuela. Happy birthday again. It was her birthday on Friday. She celebrated a wonderful age, and she's somebody that I just want to give a shout out to you, wishing you all the very, very best in life, seeing you going on to bigger, greater things. Emanuela, love you so much. Youngs, Yum, hello. Thank you for joining me again. Yes, we're back onto Young and Strong. For those who don't know, Yomi Abrahams is somebody I've known for years. I don't know how many years we've known each other, at least over 10 years. She's an amazing young woman, an amazing songstress. She sings beautifully. Yoms used to be somebody who was in the choir. I still lead in those days. So it's good to have you, Yomi. Thank you so much for joining us. So without much ado, I'm going to bring on my special guest. Or my guest for today, somebody I love so much, and I'm so grateful to her for agreeing to come on this live. I've known her for quite a number of years, having watched her grow, develop, and become. Oh no, she's not become. She's becoming. Hey, girl.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. This is Miah. How are you, my darling?
I'm good, thank you, Aunty. How are you?
I'm very well, very well. I love your hairstyle. You've always been unique when it comes to your hair.
Yeah.
It says that I've missed you so much. Thank you first and foremost for agreeing to come on this with me, my Insta Live. I know I've had some other members of your family, but this is about you. We're not talking about Jackson 5 today. We're talking about Miah Jackson. Everyone, this is Miah. Like I said, I've known her for a couple of years. I've watched her grow. I've watched her become so many great things. But I'm going to let her talk about herself because I don't talk much on this. She does. So, Miah, tell everybody about yourself.
Hi, I'm Miah. I'm a 20-year-old in my second year of university studying vocals and songwriting. And yeah, that's me.
That's you. Music, let me first tell everyone she sings amazingly. I know before the end of this, you're going to have to sing us something. Hey, Uncle Winston, how are you? Thanks so much for joining us. So, Miah, I mean, I know you, and when I think about you, I think about music. I think about songs. How did you get into music?
I would have to say it's a family thing. My dad is a musician, and then my mom used to sing in choirs, and then I think the earliest remembrance of music I have is when we went to a different church and we used to do the choir, and I always used to go because my parents were both in the choir, so they couldn't send me anywhere else. So I just sat in the choir rehearsals, and I would learn the songs with them, and yeah, music has been a very important staple in my life.
Okay. And did you feel anyhow? I mean, going because a lot of times when people talk about, oh, you're in music, I mean, pursuing music as a career, did you ever feel as if, oh, maybe I should be doing something different, maybe something more in quotes structured, like, oh, I should be a doctor or I should be a nurse or I should be a lawyer or anything? Or did you always know that this was the path that you were going to follow?
Yeah, I was running away from music for a very long time, and actually before just after GCSEs, I decided that I wanted to do forensic chemistry, and I wanted to be a forensic scientist, and I was going to go to university, and that's what I was going to do. And so I chose maths, chemistry, psychology, and music as my A levels. And if I needed to drop one, it was going to be music. Um, but then I got into A levels, and as I was applying for university, I was like, my mum actually nudged me. She was like, you need to pray on this because this is the rest of your life we're talking about. This isn't just a quick decision that you're going to make. And so I prayed on it, and music was the answer. So I applied to do music at university.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, you're in your second year of music now
Yeah, I'm going
in
into
university.
second year. Yeah.
And how has it been? Has it been what you thought it would be? Have you been like, oh gosh, I want to be a forensic scientist?
It's been amazing. It was very hard to adjust at the beginning because I wasn't used to being surrounded by so many like talented musicians like every
Ah,
day. So it was like kind of being like a small fish in a big pond, and so you're trying to navigate your way around. And so it was hard to adjust to, but kind of once I got through that part, it it was like I'm doing music every day. I'm enjoying my life. Yeah.
okay. Okay. So there was a time when you were the best person that could do music where you were, hi, Destiny, thanks for joining us. And then suddenly it was like everybody else is good, if not better than me.
Mm.
Now, how did you cope with that? Because I've known you as one of the best people when we're talking about music in the choir where we were together. And suddenly, you're in this big place. There's so many people who can do the same thing. So how were you able to adjust to that mentally?
I had to just realize this, we're all here for the same reason. We're all on our different journeys and different paths. And so I just had to laser focus and think, you're here for your improvement and your development. Take all the like feedback and learning that you can. If somebody else is better at you, go ask them how to be better at that. That's really how I adjusted to it.
Okay. All right. That's good. So that's Mia, my young songstress. Have you written anything of your own in recent times? I know you wrote some things while you were with me in the youth group,
Yeah.
but now have you still been writing anything in recent times?
Yeah, it's actually kind of like a requirement for my course because I'm doing songwriting as well. So we have
Okay.
to submit songs that we write. And so I have a good number of songs that I've been working on, but over the summer I just wanted to take a break, and now I'm getting back into songwriting and planning out the rest of my year in terms of songs.
So we should watch this space. We're going to see. I know you've done one. For those who don't know, you've got a single, haven't you? Is it
Yes.
on Spotify or where is it? Is
Yeah,
it
I
on
think it's on
Spotify?
Spotify. I Will Rise.
I Will Rise, one beautiful. For those who've never heard it, go and listen to it. I Will Rise. I remember that one. You didn't use me as one of your backing vocals, but hey.
It was just the Jackson 5.
Well, you could always make it Jackson 6. I'm not. Hi, Aunty Tolu Awokwetu. That is another amazing youth pastor. Amazing, amazing young not a young, I was going to say young woman. Can you imagine, Tolu? An amazing woman. She's doing great things with young people, singles. Tolu, follow her on Instagram. See me, I'm plugging you, Tolu. Anyway, and Yano, I saw you there as well. And Deji, hello everyone. I'm talking to Mia, my young adult. Mia is studying music. She's a singer, songwriter, amazing, amazing voice. Okay, that's you professionally. Let's talk to you as a young adult. Now, we're going to, at the end, you're still going to sing me something, okay? And then you're going to write me something just to celebrate Aunty T. Um, as a young, what's it like? I mean, you've grown up basically. I mean, I've watched you grow up from about 12, because I think you're one of those that sneaked in when you were about 12 instead of 13. So, what has it been like being a young woman in these times? What would you say it's been like?
Um, I think it's kind of challenging, to be fair, because there are so many expectations put on us. Like, there is like social media. I'm not trying to like knock it, but when you go on social media and there's like 25-year-olds or 22-year-olds or 20-year-olds that are millionaires, and they're in their careers and they're doing everything that they want to do and they're living life luxuriously, it kind of sets like a bar as to where you're supposed to be, but it's very unrealistic and quite unattainable for most, especially in a career like mine, because there are 18-year-olds that are very famous, or they're achieving their goals, but it's about learning like what you have to do for your journey in your path, because at the end of the day we are all different and we're all on a different wave kind of thing.
Okay. So how do you think people, I mean, your set, I don't know if you have friends along those lines. Larry, I see you, hi. Or your contemporaries, how do you think they deal with that kind of pressure? Because this is something that's consistent, and I hear all the time about the pressures of social media. Social media. How do you think most young people deal with that kind of pressure?
I don't think most young people deal with it like effectively. I think they just keep going on onto social media, and then they start comparing it to themselves. Um, and that's where so like most mental health issues will come down, because you are comparing your life to something else, which may not even be as good as it seems, but
Mhm.
that's what you're seeing. So I think a lot of mental health issues are plaguing young people because of what we're seeing, and we're not really coping very well, especially with the pandemic. It's hit hard for a lot of people.
Okay, because I mean, during the pandemic, a lot of people were actually stuck on the screens when
Mm.
and that was all they were watching. So, I mean, you talk about the mental health issues. So, how do people, do you have any idea how they cope with it? How do young people cope? How have you seen, or, I mean, if you feel willing to, when you've come under those kind of pressures, because you've seen all kinds of ways and manifestations of young people dealing with those kind of pressures.
Um, I think you have to learn how to stop placing your worth in other things or like in other people. Because for me personally, I would say that I struggled with putting my self-worth into music. And as long as people were like complimenting me on my voice, I was okay. And it's this thing that my brother calls affirmation addiction. I suffered with it a long time because I always needed the praise, I needed the things, and I needed the like acclamations. But at the end of the day, when it was just me, it was what's left. So I think the way that I had to cope with it is I had to stop placing my worth in what I do or what I have and who I actually am and who God has called me to be and who He says that I am. So that's how I coped with it.
Okay. And did you need, or do you think that, I mean, especially in that kind of place, young people need some kind of support? And where do they go for that kind of support when they're dealing with all these kind of pressures and the like? Where would a young person normally go for that kind of support?
I think most young people would usually go towards their friends and the people that they share the most with, their like closest circle of people. For me, that's my brother and sister because we're so close, even though we're like 10 to 5 years in age gap. Um, they're the closest people to me. So, like, if I'm struggling, I'll just reach out and they'll help me with that. But I think for most young people, it would probably be their friendship groups.
Okay. And that's because they feel comfortable in those
Yeah,
friendship groups. But sometimes I think that's a challenge I have sometimes. Sometimes the friends are kind of like struggling with the thing you're struggling with.
yeah,
And will they always have the answers you
yeah,
want?
it's true. Like most people, like we're all, if we go to our peers for help and advice, like they're probably struggling with the same thing. So they're probably thinking, well, I can't help you because I need to help me. So how am I supposed to help you if I'm still struggling with it in the first place? So I would say like maybe a mentor would probably be better um, to like get that help from and
Okay.
support.
Okay, because quite a number of people have talked about, oh, we go talk to our friends, they understand me. My friends
Mhm.
understand me. And I always ask, why not parents? Why do young people and I see you smile. All the parents on this live, why is that? Do you think there's that struggle about, gosh, I'm feeling like this, I'm gonna go talk to my mom or I'm gonna talk to my dad?
It would depend on the relationship you have with your parents. If your parents, I think most black parents, they're we have a fear of disappointing them or being judged by them because
Mm.
I know from my own experience, if I went to my parents and said, "Oh, I'm dealing with mental health issues," they'd be like, "You're being selfish. It's not about you. Go back to the Bible. This is what you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know this. You're supposed to
Oh,
do this. You're fearfully and wonderfully made." But if I'm struggling, I'm struggling. I just need help out of that place at that time. So I would
right.
definitely say, like, parents can sometimes, they can be overwhelming in a situation where you just need support. They don't give you exactly what you need in that time.
Okay. So the first thing when a young person, hi, hello, Melissa. So when a young person comes to the parents, sometimes it's not because they want immediate advice.
Mm.
Sometimes they want you just to listen, and then they want so they want support. Don't start quoting scriptures.
Yeah.
So okay, so you think that's why sometimes, I mean, young people will be like, I know what they're going to say, so I'm not going to go there and all
Yeah.
that. So what would you tell us to do as parents? What would you say? Like you said, they kind of like, especially if you come from a Christian family,
Mm.
they're like, go and pray, go on. So if you could get us parents together and say, okay, listen up, people. What would you tell us if our young people came to us? What would you tell us? What would you tell us to do?
I'd probably say listen to them, try and hear where they're coming from, like see past the stigma behind what they're saying and actually hear what they're saying. Um, and then once you've listened, try and support them in the best way that they can, in the best way that you can. Ask them what ways they need support in. Obviously, if you come from a Christian household, then pray with them, but just say, go and pray. Like help them to on that path of recovery. Yeah.
Okay. Well, parents, now we've heard that. And do you think that parents should be vulnerable with their children in terms of like if they've been through things, they should be able to share with their children?
Yes, I think it allows your child to like understand where you're coming from. Um, but I would say yes because I think if I'd have known that one of my parents had been through a certain situation that I went through, then I maybe would have recovered better, and I would have kind of been able to understand that I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not the only one who's ever been through this. Like when you're in that kind of space and you feel isolated, it kind of helps to know that someone else has gone through this and they've got out of it, and they're doing better because of what they did to get out. So yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but the fear that some parents have is that if we tell you, oh, when we were your age, we did this, that, and the other, that you young people will use it against us. And
Mm.
you'll be like, oh, really? So what do you mean I can't make my own mistakes and all that? So do you think we can trust you with our vulnerability as young people?
I do understand that there are some people that would definitely use that against you, but I think if you explain to your kids that you made that mistake so they do not need to make this mistake again, like if
Right.
they're on the similar kind of path and road, like going down a bad road, that yeah, you should probably tell them, this is what I did. It wasn't the right thing to do. This is what you're doing. We can steer you onto the right way, onto the right track. Yeah.
Okay. So, and sometimes we might not be able to tell you everything, but
Mm.
we should be able to understand what you might need to know about us. Because is it true that as young people we tend to, well, I try to make myself young, but hey, as young people, you can sometimes put your parents on a pedestal, and so there's always that desire to kind of like make sure that you don't fall short of the expectations because they look as if they've done no wrong. They're the perfect ones.
I always find that troublesome, because if you place your parents on an expectation and like for the rest of your life, and you get to like 30 and you're like, oh, my parents did this, this, and this, and then you find out something wrong they did, that will mess you up, because you're like, my whole life I thought you were this and you weren't. So I think it's probably best to be open and honest with your kids, because they'll have unrealistic expectations for certain things, and
Mm.
then that will send them down a spiral, and it won't be good for them.
Okay, so we should talk to you. We should we should talk to you guys. Oh dear. Okay. Parents, we'll talk more. We'll talk more. And then a lot of times, some of your contemporaries have come and they've said things like, when parents expect us to do some things, they should tell us why. Do you think parents owe you an explanation?
Yes, because in this, we're very inquisitive people. We are children. So if you're
I was
telling
a child once. I was a young person once. Don't make me feel that ancient.
so
Okay, you're
if a
inconsiderate.
parent
Okay.
says, "Oh, do this," but why? There are certain things like, oh, if they ask you to do the washing, there's no need to question that. They need you to do the washing for some strange reason. They just do it. But if
Will you respect reason?
but if you're like,
Oh,
say you're asking to go out with friends and they're saying no, then a reasonable reason is kind of like owed. Like, why can I not go out? Like, is there something happening? Is there something we're supposed to be doing? Like, is they need to give a reason why. Yeah,
they
definitely.
need to give you a reason why. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So no is not enough. Yes is not enough. Is it because, I mean, your generation now is, like you said, you're all quite inquisitive. Well, young people are generally
Mm.
inquisitive. But is it that you don't trust our judgment, or is it that you're just like, just help me understand
It's
why?
not that. I think that if parents just explain why, then maybe the children would learn to make those judgments themselves. And so that they won't
Oh,
need to ask, oh, so if the parents say, you can't go at this person because they do this, and we don't like the way they're affecting you, or say, for example, then maybe the kid will think about that and go, oh, yeah, I think I see that too. Maybe I shouldn't go out with them. And then they don't need to keep asking why. Or they don't have to be rebellious and say, I'm going to go hang out with this person just because you won't
Anyway.
tell me why. So,
Whatever. Okay. So we should try it. We should try and ask the question. I beg your pardon. We should try and give the reasons
yeah,
why, why we would want you to do some things. I mean, that's kind of like not how our generation grew up, because
definitely.
we were like, yes is yes, no is no. If you're not happy with it, tough, that kind of thing. But like you said, every generation is different, and
Mm.
we've got to kind of understand the different generations. Now, when how do I want to phrase this? Are you comfortable with, if your parents don't have the answers, them discussing with other parents?
Hmm. Wow, that's a good question. I don't, if they, that's hard, that is, because if they,
You don't want them discussing your issues, do you?
yeah, but then on
Uh,
the one hand, if you don't talk to them about your issues, then they have every right if they don't like know how to help or know what the answer is. No, that's tricky.
well, it happens because some people, I mean, are like, no, if you don't know the answer, don't discuss my issues. But is it okay for them to go out and just try and find the answers, even if they have to discuss with their friends, or discuss with, or ask you to talk to somebody else? You're okay with referrals?
Yeah, I guess so. But then if you're gonna refer your kid, then they might as well just go and talk to whoever they wanted to talk to in the first place.
We don't want you just talking to anybody. We don't want you just talking to any. We don't just want you
I
talking
do
to,
get that, yeah.
as to kind of like weigh who we're talking to, who you're talking to,
Mm.
and all that. All right. Now, I mean, you've been through your teenage years, and now you're a young adult, and all that. If there was one thing you could tell teenagers now, maybe in retrospect, maybe, wealth of being through the teenagers, what is one thing you would tell other teenagers now, because you're no longer a teen? What is one thing you would share with them? Not
Uh,
one thing, what are a couple of things you would want to tell teenagers?
I would say be true to yourself and like find out what that is, because you don't want to go into your young adult years still trying to find yourself, because then you'll be swayed by different perspectives. So definitely be true to yourself and find yourself in your teenage years so that you can establish the rest of your life in whatever that is. I would say don't fight other people's battles, because you can get into little petty things in secondary school just because you're being loyal to your friends. It's okay. It's really not that deep. It's not.
Yeah, are you talking from experience?
I am talking from experience. It's not that deep
You
because
fought some battles, huh?
there weren't really battles. It's just standing up for people who I'm not even friends with now. It doesn't
Ah,
make sense. So yeah, just it's not necessary. It's not deep enough. Just
oh, okay.
stick your
Okay.
head down and get on with what you've got to do. That's
But
more
when
of
you
a thing.
but when you say find yourself, how do you find yourself? Because, I mean, not saying it sounds like a cliche, but
Mm,
you always hear it everywhere. You got to
yeah.
discover yourself. You've got to have your own identity. You've got to know, hi Sarah, it's nice to have you. You've got to know your identity. You've got to know what you stand for. How does a young person, how does a teenager find themselves?
Um,
What would you need to do?
I think maybe it's like start learning emotional intelligence and relational intelligence at a young age, because then you can discover like things that make you tick, the way that you act in certain relationships, in friendships. You can start building your close circle, your outer circle, etc., etc., and then it will just be easier when you get along the line. um yeah, I think, yeah, that's how you find yourself. That's how I would say.
Emotional intel. You see, you've got very psychological on me. Emotional intelligence. Is that learning how you, like you said, how you think,
Yeah, how
how
you
you
think,
think
how you react in situations,
situations, how
and then you can
you.
make the necessary changes so that you don't do like blow up in the future.
Okay, so emotional intelligence. You learn
Yeah,
relational. Did you say
it's,
relational intelligence as
yeah,
well?
yeah,
Okay. And then, I mean, looking at your contemporaries, the 20-year-olds, the 21-year-olds,
yeah.
what is something you would say to them?
um don't get too wrapped up in those unrealistic expectations. Whatever it is you've decided to do with your life, if you're still finding that, go ahead and find that. But if you know what you're doing, do everything you can to be the best that you can in that field, and try not to get distracted in other things like relationships, marriage, kids. Don't, just keep your head focused, do what you need to do, because those things will come when the time is right. And just spend your time focusing on establishing yourself in whatever you need to be doing so you can be the best in your career.
So don't get distracted. Why do you say don't get distracted with marriage and they
It
good?
is a good thing, but
Absolutely.
when you're so young, like everyone, when you're married, you cannot be single. So when you're in your 20s,
Marriage, you
enjoy
can.
your singleness.
Well, I've never heard anybody say that, but it's just truth in simple words. When you're married, you cannot be single.
Yeah,
Now you tell me. Okay, so I mean, do you think it's a time when you can be or be on the journey to becoming what you want to be, what you
yeah,
need to
yeah,
be, where you want to go in life, and that should be the concentration, that should be the
yeah.
focus that you have,
Mm-hmm.
and all that. And is it true? This is one thing I tell young people, and I don't know whether it's something you would agree with, that you have time,
Mm,
in the
yeah,
sense that you were quite right when you said don't rush it. And do you think it's something that you would reiterate, that don't rush it, you have time? And I always say something like, you can try so many things. Is that something that you would like subscribe to, that in your teens? Yeah, try so many things. I mean, be safe. But in the sense of career wise,
yeah,
explore and all that. Do
definitely.
do as many things as you think you would love to do.
Yeah,
And if you're doing something you don't like, change it.
change
Do
it. Yeah,
something else. If you study medicine and you find out that you don't like blood, go become something else.
do something else. Yeah, whatever makes you happy at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, I know what makes me happy. I won't be able to make a living out of reading novels and watching movies. I can imagine that. Okay, and then I know initially, so for your teenagers, keep your head down, develop emotional intelligence. I'm reiterating this so that those who are on here would
Yeah,
understand what you're saying. And relational intelligence, just during that period, find out what makes you take, what I'll call what your triggers are,
mm,
and discover what kind of person you are, whether you're outgoing or you're not outgoing, whether you're an introvert, whether you love animals or you don't. Find out what ticks for you. And then when you're a young adult, you would say, you know what, take your time and do what is important at this point in time.
mm,
Don't get bogged down with, would I be correct in saying don't get bogged down in too far ahead the future?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right, that's it. And for us parents, or the older people in your life? What would
I
you
think I
say?
would say trust the life process or support the process that your child is on. Um, because I think I felt like I had not gone on the right process in my life so far. Like everyone says after GCSEs, you go to A levels or college apprenticeships. That's that stage. And then after that, it's university or work. And then after that, it's graduating, work, etc., marriage, etc. But I felt like I was halted after A levels. And for a year, I did, well, I was in the choir. I was doing the choir full time. Well, not full time, but you know.
That was what was filling your time.
Yeah, that was what was filling my time. And I feel like after that, the COVID-19 outbreak happened. And then I was cheated 2 years because I'm doing a performance degree and I'm having to sing over Zoom. So I'm not doing the process that I was meant to do. I should have, next year, I should have finished my university degree and I should have been graduating. But instead, I'm in my second year and I've been outside of like actual learning halls for 2 years. So I'm now going into a new environment. I'm thinking, I don't know how to do school. I don't know how to do this again.
Wow.
So I feel
Wow.
like maybe support the process that your child is going on and trust trust it, yeah. Trust that God, they're in God's hands and that he's got a plan for their lives. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Just to bring you back a little bit, I've never really kind of like grasped, the fact that the pandemic really had that kind of effect. Because for someone like me, I mean, I'm not in school, I'm working. I haven't been in my office since March 2020. And for
Mm.
me, it was kind of cool because I was working from home. I didn't have to do the commute because I had like an hour and a half commute before the pandemic hit. So I was just sit on my computer at home and work. But it did affect young people differently, didn't it?
Mm.
Very significantly. For example, what you're describing as your experience. I don't think I ever actually appreciated. I mean, I read it in the news and all that, but it is real, isn't it?
Yeah.
You all got a bit shafted, didn't you, by the
Mm.
by the pandemic? So how are you adjusting to that again?
Um, I'm having to like learn how to talk to people again because I've been at
Whoa.
home mostly for 2 years and like me and Alanda just moved out and so we're in Manchester now and so I've been like thrown in the deep end so I'm having to do cook all the meals and clean the clothes and clean the house and and then I
Strangely enough.
and then on top of that, I'm having to think, oh, wait, I'm going to university. I'm going to have to network. I'm going to have to talk to people. I'm going to be in lessons. I'm going to have to take notes. And so I think I'm kind of trying to adjust because I'm naturally a recluse. I don't really like talking to people or this kind of stuff. It's not really for me. I just like to get on with what I'm doing. And I've usually like tried and stay in the background as much as I can. But now, like, especially with the degree I'm on, I actually have to step forward. And
Yeah.
this is one of the things that my singing teacher told me in the first year. She was like, Mia, you've got so much more to you. Why are you not giving it? Why are you not opening up? And I was like, I don't know. We just came, it was literally 6 months into the pandemic. And I was like, I don't really know. Maybe it's because I've been at home for all this time. But
Right.
I've had to learn how to not have that affect me and not have that affect what I do because the fact that I stopped singing out
Mm.
because
Yes.
I was isolated and alone, that it really mind boggled me. It's mm.
It was different, isn't it? But I mean, you were singing on stage with me in
Yeah.
the choir for about 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that that period where you weren't doing it just kind of like shook all, was it your confidence? Was it,
Yeah, I would definitely say that my confidence was like erupted at that stage. Like I was like, and this was also at the time when I was just coming in and all the I was surrounded by all the talented musicians. So I've got that on my plate as well, and I'm not doing as much performing as I would have done before, and
Yes.
everything's changed. And I don't think at first I didn't adjust to it well, but then once my teacher said to me, "You need to sing out," I kind of realized I'm actually messing with my career here. I'm messing with the way that I perform and the way that I sing just because I'm in my head.
You're right.
It
Okay.
doesn't make any sense, yeah.
Okay. But can you say now that you're in a place where, I mean, well, I've got you on here and you're touring the world for all we know, that you gradually come to a place where you can begin to perform again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think I got to that stage at Christmas last year,
Okay.
when we did the Christmas production. Um, I think I needed a chance to perform on a stage like it was before. Um,
Okay.
and that helped me, and I got feedback, and I was kind of making the necessary adjustments. I was allowed to put the things that I'd been learning into that performance, and it very much helped me to grow my confidence back.
Okay, so you kind of like started from somewhere that was a bit familiar.
Yeah,
Okay, and once you were like, okay, this feels like what I know now,
yeah.
you were able to to go forward from that. I mean, there's so much I could keep asking and all that. And maybe one thing I would also want to ask you is a lot of, and I think I started with that at the beginning where I said, you're not going into a career that we would call is orthodox.
Mm,
You're going into the performing arts, and that is not always what, the expectation is. Everyone expects you to have, you know, the set careers, although now there's a bit more changing in society and all that. So if there was a young person that was struggling, this is what they want to do, but they're struggling with the fact that, is this an established career? Is this something I should pursue, or should I play it safe? Do you understand? In terms
mm.
of, do you have any words? I know you might not have all the words of wisdom because it's not, but if you met a younger person, take a 15-year-old like that or a 17-year-old, would you be able to tell them something?
I'd probably say you definitely need determination, and you need perseverance in this field, because you can't just fall at the first hurdle. You can't just get one setback and say, that's it, I'm done, I'm gonna be a doctor now. You actually you have to keep going and keep sticking at it. And I want them to know that there are different routes and different kind of fields in the music industry that they can get into, because
Yeah.
we did this kind of at the start of last year's learning. We went through all the different kind of fields that you can do, and just from being a singer, I could do weddings, events, I could do cruise singing, lounge singing, I could do touring, and then if you go into each aspect, if you want to do touring, then you could be a sound engineer. You could do all different types of things in the
Okay.
different areas and aspects of music. And yeah, so it's not just one thing. Just because you see the singers and songwriters like out on stage getting all the awards, it's a lot of work behind that, that makes that. So yeah.
Okay. So it's important for them to get a big picture, and that was what you did, that you would advise,
Yeah.
research it, get the bigger picture. It's not
Mm.
just one thing. And if it's the thing for you, then go ahead and do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, I know that it's still something that is gradually becoming easier to accept. I know for parents and for, this is what my, you want to be a dancer, you want to be an actor, you want to be a chef. It's gradually becoming, you want to be a gamer now or
Mm.
something like that. I mean, the things before that we didn't think were orthodox and that how are you gonna survive over doing this? They're actually becoming established careers now.
Yeah.
And like you said, you have to be determined and you have to be sure
Mm.
that that this is what you want to do and all that. Okay, I mean that's a lot of things. No, before I say, I'm gonna ask you one more question. No, not one more, a couple more. I can keep talking. I'll always have things to say. Let's if you were going to think of somebody who's been quite inspirational or motivational to you in your journey through life, who is somebody that you would pick? And please don't say me because I'd blush. But who is somebody that you would say actually this I've gotten a lot of motivation or inspiration from this person?
I'd probably have to say my mum, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her. Like, she helped me into making the choice for myself, the choice of music for myself. She didn't say, "Oh, you shouldn't do chemistry," because she knew I was very good at chemistry. She just said, "Maybe you should think about it, pray about it, and decide for yourself." She gave me the tools that I needed to make a correct decision for my life. Um, and I think that is very inspirational. And she's always helped me and motivated me. And she took me to all my auditions and she
Oh,
celebrated me when I got all my unconditionals. And she's just my biggest cheerleader, really, after my sister, actually.
amazing. Well, I mean, for those who don't know, her mom, Beverly, was my last sofa guest. Her mom's word, amazing, amazing, amazing time. Both we had such a lovely time. So those who want to, you can watch Beverly's interview with me. Or should I say, well, we had a live. She was talking, I was listening and learning. So that's good. Somebody to celebrate you, somebody who inspired you. She didn't like insist that this is what you have to do. She kind
Yeah,
of like was like, you would make the right choice, and she supported you right through it.
yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm not going to keep you too long any longer. But you've got to tell me, what are some of the songs that you have written?
Um, I kind of like write from other people's perspectives. So the first project that I plan to put out will be a collective of songs that I write from the perspective of other people's. So I kind of like write stories and then they're never from my perspective, if you get what I mean. And then the one after that will maybe be a bit more personal. That's I'm still working on it.
Okay. All right. So you're not revealing anything yet.
No.
That's okay. That's okay. We can wait. I'm sure everyone knows we can wait. Finally, I know that your faith is very important to you. Or should I say, what part does your faith play in your life?
A very huge part. I can't really make any steps without God. And it's even at the point where I can't write songs without the Holy Spirit, because
Mhm.
I will get in front of the keyboard and I'll be like, I need to write a song. And then I'll be like, hold on, I need to ask the Holy Spirit. And as soon as I do that, I get one line and cannot stop. It's
Wow.
almost a natural kind of flow. So it plays a very huge part in my life in terms of music, but in just day-to-day things, like you making steps without God is just pointless, because then you'll have to go back and be like, God, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm going, I need help. So you might as well just make the steps with God in the first place.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. I need to learn that. Oh, wow. That is so, I must say that is really inspirational. That is really, really inspirational. And what is one thing you would, I mean, based on your face, what is one thing you would like to tell your friends? Do you have a lot of friends actually? Not
Not
too much.
really.
I'm trying to think about it and I'm like, who are Mia's friends again? I know she would say Yolanda, Ira, and well, there must be some, and maybe Joanna and
Yeah, just yeah, Joanna really.
Joanna is your friend.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you're quite a very, very inspirational young woman, and I'm so glad that you're doing something that you really love.
Mm.
Um, I've watched you grow, like I said, through a number of years from a preteen right through to now a young adult. And I'm one of those who's looking forward to what you want, what's going to happen in the future. Because I don't know too many singer song. Well, apart from Yomni Abrams, I don't know too many that I can say, okay, well, can you slip my name on your album or something? But but honestly, I'm really looking forward to what you're going to be doing. Of course, you know, I'm always rooting for you and wishing you all the very, very best. I mean, I know you do quite a bit of stuff on Instagram. So do you want to tell us some of the things you do? Are they covers? Are they originals on your page?
Part and part. Some of them are covers and some of them are originals, but I'm kind of pausing, taking a break so that I can focus on starting uni and then getting my project done and well started and completed, and then we'll see about what goes from there. But I am starting wedding singing, so
Okay.
um, if anyone needs a singer for their wedding ceremony, or their first dance song, um,
Okay.
I'm getting into that
Uh,
soon.
Okay. So is it just weddings or would you do birthdays too? If
I
somebody
don't
wanted
mind
to.
birthdays if they do. If anyone needs an event singer, I'm there.
Okay. Okay, you heard it here. Yeah, I mean, you did a wedding with your siblings and it was just truly amazing.
Thank
I
you.
was blown away. I'd never seen, that before. So it's good to hear. All right, everyone. That was one of my favorite people, Mia Jackson, talking to us, telling us, and I mean, it's a lovely perspective from somebody who's studying performing arts. I've had a nurse on here before, and it was truly amazing. I've had a footballer on here. I've had so who knows who's coming next. But thank you so, so very much for coming. Thank you
Thank you for
for,
having me.
I know I kind of ambushed you. You weren't allowed to say no, but it's okay. And like I said, I wish you all the best to your family and everyone. And remember, we're always rooting for you. And to everyone who's joined us, thank you so much for being here. Those of us who are parents, we continue to learn from our young people. And those of us who are young people, we continue to learn from our contemporaries. That's what Young and Strong is about. And we're looking forward to the next session, which will be in the next 2 weeks, when I'm going to be having another wonderful young adult. So from Mia, thank you very much. And
Thank
from myself, have a lovely, lovely, lovely evening. Thanks, everyone. Sarah, Rachel, Destiny, everyone. Bye and have a lovely evening. Bye, Mia. God bless you.
Bye.
Love you, girl. Bye, everyone. Bye.